Now we're going to look at free-form animation with biped. We've been using footstep animation. The other main kind of animation with biped is free-form animation. And free-form animation is very much like auto key or set key animation with any 3dsmax object. But there are some differences. One has to do with the fact that with biped, if you set a key on a frame other than frame 0, biped does not automatically create a key on frame 0. So you have to do that manually. Another thing is that you can't use the set key button here. Biped has its own set key button, and it also has some shortcut buttons, and we'll look at one of those in this movie. And we'll also talk a little bit about mixing footstep animation and freeform animation. So before we start with biped, I'm just going to create a sphere. Then I'm going to go out. I'm not in auto key yet. I haven't clicked the auto key button on yet. I'm going out to another frame and then clicking the auto key button. Now there's no keyframe here and there's no keyframe on frame 0 right now. I'm going to choose the move tool and move down. As soon as I do that, keyframes get created on both those frames. When I get out of auto key, I've got an animation. Okay, let's try that with biped. We'll see that it won't work that way. Just delete that, go to the Systems panel, biped, and create a biped. Go to the Motion panel. I'm already in the vertical track here. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go out to another frame without clicking auto key. Then click auto key. Move the biped down and click auto key off. There's no animation because no key was automatically created at frame 0. So I'm just going to Control Z to undo that. So here's what I have to do. Click auto key on frame 0. Make some little change. I'll just move it up a little bit. Make sure a key gets created. Then come out here. Create my movement and click auto key off. Now I have the movement that I want because I manually made sure that that key got created on frame 0. So that's one difference. Another one is that biped has its own key info rollout, and this button right here is the set key button for biped. So don't use this one over here. Use this one here, or use some of these shortcuts. Now these shortcuts aren't enabled right now because you can't use them on the center of mass object, the COM object, which is what's selected right now. But we're going to use one of these. We're going to use this one right here, set planted key. Because we want to change this so that rather than moving the whole biped down, the center of mass moves down, but the feet stay planted. Now I could manually create a key using auto key for the feet, but I'd have to move them a little bit to do that. And that's not what I want to do. I want to just plant the feet right where they are. To do that, I can use that set planted key. So I'm going to select a foot, and all these options become enabled. Now, by the way, I can't do this on both feet at the same time. If I come up here and click symmetrical so that I've got both feet selected, these options are grayed out again. I have to do this one foot at a time. So I just click set planted key, and a keyframe is created here. Now I can go up here and do select opposite to select the other foot. There's no keyframe yet. Click here, and I've created a planted key. Now, when I go out, the feet remain where they were and the knees bend. And the last thing that I want to mention is about combining footstep animation with freeform animation. If you create some freeform animation on a biped that has no footstep animation on it, the footstep animation icon will be grayed out. You won't be able to click that and enable it and create any footstep animation. If you have already done that, you've already created some freeform animation on a biped and you realize, I want to create some footstep animation, click here on Convert and just click Convert to Footsteps. We've got some options here. This flattens footsteps to z equals 0, and you can also generate a keyframe per frame. I'm just going to stick with the default there of flattening the footsteps and click OK. So as you can see, it brought it down a little bit. And now my footstep icon is enabled. I can click on that and start working with footsteps. Generally, I find a more convenient way to go about things is to just create the biped create the footstep animation, I'll just activate those. So there I've got my footstep animation. Now I can go in, I'll just select his spine there, the second spine link. I can animate that. And I'm still free to go back into footstep mode and continue working with the footsteps. So I find that more convenient than having to convert, but both options do work. So that concludes this introductory movie to freeform animation with biped.